All right, my name is Shane McCardle. I reside in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, and I felt the need to go along with some timelines of some events pertaining to a conversation of whether to get vaccinated or not, or a virus or not, and everybody has their opinions, and I've sort of been sitting along in the sidelines and really taking in both sides of a story, and trying to make a decision that I feel is best for me and doing a lot of research on both sides of the topic. And here are some things that I'm having some struggles with, okay? Things that I'm having struggles with on the, let's just call them pro and anti sides. It's a little strong, but whatever, pro and anti, let's call that for the all intents and purposes here, pro and anti. So the pro side. Okay, so let's just talk about a chronological term of events to the layman person. Okay, so if the wish of the pro side is for people to get vaccinated because they firmly believe that it's what's best for the world, wouldn't it be best for those said people to talk in a language or lingo that best resonates with somebody, to the population, to the overall majority of the population? I don't know about you, but I would rather be relatable than right. 10 out of 10. And if what you're doing right now is not relatable and you feel that you're right, don't you think that it'd be better off to talk in a language that was relatable? I do. Here's what the struggle is with people who have not gotten the vaccine. It's because they don't believe. They don't believe. They don't believe what it is that you're saying. And you're trying to get them to believe something that you're saying. And the reason why they don't believe is because of this chronological layman's person's point of view, okay? So, at the very beginning, there is a virus. Be careful. People are getting sick. Okay, yep, we can all agree on that. There was a virus and people were getting sick. I don't think that the people who are the anti are saying to you that there is no such thing as a virus. I believe that the chronological order of events went like this. Stay 2 meters apart from some people and wash your hands. Hey, we've been told that all along. As we were young kids, wash your hands. A virus, wash your hands. That wasn't working. Numbers are going up, numbers are going up. Shit, numbers are going up. Tell you what, now we need to wear masks. So 2 meters in masks. So we wore masks. Numbers still went up. Man, that's not working. So all the scientist people are telling us 2 meters away. Then they're saying wear a mask and things are going, don't worry. Don't worry. We're going to help you stay safe. Don't worry. Let's wear a mask now. Then that wasn't working. Now let's shut everything down and keep everybody from going out and about, right? So everyone was locked up into their houses, and that seemed to have worked a little bit, but it didn't work. It didn't end up working, right? So then all of a sudden, what was happening was it was 2 meters away and wear masks and everything shut down. And let's close up the restaurants and let's do all this stuff and let's do that and it'll help the numbers go down. But they didn't go down; they went up. Then every single excuse under the books was basically, yeah, it was a long weekend. And here's another reason why the people who are the so-called anti-people don't believe you is because every time they did something that you said would help, didn't. Okay? So, for example, and every time something that you said that they did, so, oh, guess what? There was a holiday and you guys didn't listen and you guys went to a family event and you guys, it's really interesting how the incubation period of this whole said virus was like 14 to 20 days. But yet after a long weekend, where somebody had, say, got together on the long weekend holiday, then boom, the very next day numbers were up. But yet it takes 14 days for it to incubate and to show up. That's odd, right? How the very next days you guys reported numbers that there was a spike. It was a long weekend. Over the past 3 days, there was a spike in the cases. That's really odd because it takes a long time for it to show up. But yet, immediately after a long weekend, you're telling us, cramming people down their throats, that there was a spike and now we need to be worried. So the people who are left are the people who are seeing that. Not seeing, they're understanding that they don't believe your bullshit that you've been feeding them. So you're feeding bullshit, and they see your bullshit, and they see right through it. And now it's even more harder to get those people to be convinced to do what you're going to make them do. And now you're basically you're having a temper tantrum now, right? So now what's happening is you're basically saying to people, now we're going to take this away and that away, and if you don't play right, we're going to take your toy away, and we're going to take your freedom away, and we're going to take that away, but we're not telling you what to do. Now you've got the strongest of the strong people that are, in their opinion, didn't believe your bullshit in the beginning. These people are now the strong ones. And they're saying, no, I don't believe your bullshit from day one, and I don't believe your bullshit now, and now you're trying to choke me. And now I've been backed in a corner before, and I know that feeling. I'm not going to do what you say you're going to do, but you're going to continue to choke me. So I'd like to talk about these masks, right, that you guys said, that they said that would help us. 2 meters away doesn't help. Now you've got nurses and teachers and doctors and orderlies and emergency service people and all these people who have, for the last 2 years, now almost 2 years, have been on the front lines with a protection device that you say works, but you also proved that it didn't work because you implemented it and cases still went up. See what I'm saying about this? There's two different, you're talking to two sides of your face. These work, wear a mask, but masks don't work. So if you're a nurse and you don't have, or you're a doctor and you don't have your vaccine, then you can't go to work. But you wait a minute, I'm wearing a mask. I can't get anybody sick. You can't go to work because you're going to get people sick. Well, first and foremost, the people that are in the hospital that you're trying to say are in the hospital are all the people who've got COVID. They're taking up all the beds. We can't even get elective surgeries in. We can't even, the hospitals are full of people with COVID. And the people you're saying who have COVID, only have COVID, are the people who were not vaccinated. So shame on you unvaccinated people, you're trying to say. And you're trying to get the rest of the world to say it as well. But for the last year and a half, they haven't caught COVID. For the last 2 years, they haven't caught COVID. For the last year and a half, those nurses that are wearing the protective devices that you say are working, but really weren't working, and you're having them work with devices that don't work, they don't actually work. Because remember, the case studies were going up. The numbers of people that were wearing masks, everyone was wearing masks all the time, and the numbers were going up. So they weren't working, but yet you were putting them in harm's way, knowing that the masks don't work, and yet they're working, and they're sacrificing their lives, their families' lives. They're sacrificing their mental health and wellness. Worried every day, right? So now these people can't go to work because they don't have a vaccine. But meanwhile, they haven't caught COVID and been around people with COVID because the hospitals are full of COVID patients, remember? So now they can't go to work, even if they wear protective devices, gloves, everything, the mask, the face shield, everything. They can't go to work now. So you're stripping that away. So now you're actually saying, nope, sorry, these masks don't work because you still can get people sick. But yet somehow you're still trying to get children, young children, who the cases of COVID over the past year and a half have been almost zero in children, if not zero. So now you're forcing children to continue to wear the masks, make them go to school. Why? Why are you making a group of people that have not gotten COVID over the last year and a half, case study, year and a half, they haven't gotten COVID. Why are you making them wear masks? Why are you putting the fear in them now and to their parents about their children? Because you sucked the parents into getting the COVID shot. That was easy. Now they used to feel safe because the children where studies are where they weren't getting sick. So they felt that their children were safe. And now you're trying to coerce the children to get the shot too, to get the needle, to get the vaccine, which is not even a vaccine. Because the last time I ever knew, I wasn't worried when I met somebody that they would give me polio. I wasn't ever worried when I met somebody I had to stay 2 meters away from them and wear a mask because I was afraid I was going to get smallpox. That's a real vaccine. What you're telling people is a vaccine is not really a vaccine to begin with, because even though you got a vaccine, you can still get it. You can still transmit it. So there's another piece of the puzzle that doesn't make sense to the people who are smart. It doesn't make sense that if I get a vaccine, I can still get it. If I can still get it. Doesn't make sense. You're trying to give me a sense of security as a vaccinated person, but yet I still got to be afraid of people. I still got to find people to blame. I'm going to blame the unvaccinated people. I'm going to blame them because they're the ones continuing this. They're the ones that now are going to get my children sick. The virus has been around for a year and a half, and your child hasn't gotten it. Still playing with little Stevie, still playing with little Jennifer, they're still going to the park, still touching things, still picking their noses, still rubbing their eyes, still eating with their fingers, and still not washing their hands. And they haven't gotten it. But now you're trying to fearmonger children into getting it. Why? Why? The real question is why? What is the motive? Now listen, if the motive was to save people, okay, if I had a little village, my very own little village, and I loved my village people, I loved my village people, and I knew everybody by name, and they really meant something to me. Hey, that's Fred. He does the gardening. That's Steven. He does he takes care of the animals. That's Jennifer. She's the doctor. That's such and such. And I knew all these people in a small little village of, say, 100 people. Self-sustained. If I knew these people and I loved and cared for them like the government should care for you, wouldn't I want to prevent some things first? Wouldn't I shut down the alcohol store? Wouldn't I shut down the tobacco store? Wouldn't I take all the sugary items off the shelves? I would. I would, because I know that stuff is harming our health, lowering our immune system so that we can't fight this off. Do we have any government agency? I know if it was my village, I would do that. But do we have any government agency stripping the shelves of sugary products that are causing your immune system to lower in our children? No, we're not. Did we do it with adults? No, we didn't. Liquor stores are essential. Tobacco is essential. Can you believe this? It's crazy, right? Sugary foods, essential. We should be stripping our shelves of all the stuff that are detriments. And what we should be doing is I would implement a regimen of vegetables and fruits, and I would provide them to people for free in my village. Why is the government, who says that they care about you, why are they not implementing some sort of system that is going to make sure that your immune system is healthy so that you can free exercise, free gym memberships, free exercise equipment, free vitamins, free vegetables and fruits, and strip the ability of you to put into your body things that are harming you? Why aren't they doing that? Are you not asking yourselves why? Why is it that they want to take the easy route and just jab you with something? Why is it that now all of a sudden they want to put a fear in a group of people who have been shown to not get it or pass away of it, let alone, and they want to put the fear into that? Why do they want to do that? If the masks worked, we would all wear them, but they didn't work, numbers went up. If the masks worked, the nurses could wear them and the doctors could wear them, and they could still continue to do what they do in the hospitals. But now they want to force people. And when people are trying to force people to do something and they're using narcissistic, abusive behavior patterns to do that in people, there's a problem there. Now, I would rather be relatable than right. 10 times out of 10, as I said, I would. Why don't you actually admit? Why doesn't the people that are doing this, if you want to get people to do anything, you have to be relatable. Why don't you just get people the actual information, the stuff, instead of trying to cover your tracks all the time? Why don't you just come up and say, hey, listen, what we realized is that masks just don't work. They don't. They don't work. And stop the kids from wearing the mask and stop everyone from wearing the mask. They don't work. Because if they worked, you would still have the people in the hospitals being able to work with a mask on. Hey guys, tell you what, I know you don't want to get a vaccine, but you just have to make sure 100% of the time you're wearing your mask. Because it works. But you're not doing that because it doesn't work. But yet you're making everybody... Now listen, unless you're... And here's another thing. Unless you are... they're saying that you don't have to wear the mask or get the injection, you don't have to get it. We're not making you get it. That's another weird thing. We're not making you get it, but you're forcing us to. No, we're not forcing you to. You don't have to get it, but yet your job's going to be taken away. You're going to lose your house. You're going to lose your family. You're going to be stressed out if you don't comply, and you're going to have everybody else bombarding you and trying to force you like this. But it's bad. Mental wellness is bad. So you're going to end up caving. But we didn't make anybody. Why don't you just make it a law? So you, the government, why don't you just make it a law? We're going to make it a law, and we're going to have 100% responsibility of any detrimental thing that happens to your health. We are so confident in this that we're going to allow you to be able to come after us for something if something happens. If you have a heart attack and die, if you have a blood clot and have a stroke, if you have whatever. We're so confident in this that we're going to take all responsibilities on this, and we're going to make it a law. But you don't make it a law because they're chicken. You're chicken because you know something that you're not telling people. And the people who are hanging on right now, they can see it, smell it, and feel it out of you. They can feel it. They know. So, what's my point? My point is, why don't you just own up to some stuff? Why don't you just say, hey, listen, we were wrong. We were wrong. If you want to have trust in people, you have to be transparent with people. And yeah, there's some people that are just oblivious, that they don't even want to give any thought to anything, and that's fine. Those are the people that I would call sheep in life, okay? Okay, those type of people, okay? But there's other people who actually have brains that function in their heads, and they're asking questions. And thank God that they do, because those are the most productive people in society, are the people that, isn't there a better way? Couldn't we do this? That's how all inventions were made. That's how we're talking on this phone. Couldn't we? What if we? The people who ask questions are the smart ones, right? I'm not saying if you don't ask questions, you're not smart, but you're just going along for the ride. Ask questions about why. Think a little deeper than just they said. And wonder why it is that in every radio station, every TV newscast, it's always something trying to get you to do something that they want you to do. Why don't they just present facts? Why don't they just be relatable and be real? Hey, listen, guess what? Guys, guess what? We thought the 2 meters would work and it didn't, so we did the mask thing. The mask thing isn't working either. So we're going to stop the mask thing because that's not working. What we recommend now is that everybody get a vaccine. Because now all of a sudden what you're getting is, now you're getting people who are vaccinated that are pissed off at people who are not vaccinated because you're making them think that it's the unvaccinated people that are causing this problem to continue, when in actual fact it is that the vaccinated people, they don't want to wear a mask anymore. Hey, wait a second. Now the vaccinated people are starting to think a little bit. Hey, why is it that if I'm vaccinated, I'm supposed to be protected? Why am I still have to wear a mask? I don't know, but if I sign up to get a vaccine, I would think that I'm basically have no worries about even getting the virus. Like polio, like smallpox, those things, right? But now so I signed a deal with the devil and did something I didn't want to do in the first place, but I did it for the sake of what you coerced me to think I should, right? Well, if I do this, I'm doing my part. I'm saving the world, and things are going to change, and things are going to get better. But things aren't getting better. You still have to wear that mask. You don't want to wear the mask, so why don't you just at least do this? Ask yourself, hey man, if you're so confident that this so-called vaccine works, I shouldn't have to wear a mask. I did my part, man. I did it. I served my first term at World War I. I did my duty. I did it. I'm no longer wearing a mask. Why don't you at least stand up for that? Why don't you at least say, when someone says, excuse me, sir, you got to wear a mask, at least show your vaccine card and say, no, I don't need to. I'm safe. I'm confident that I'm safe. Why is it that you're no longer safe? You got a vaccine? Oh, because you can still get it. And that's not a vaccine. Well, you can still give it. To who? People that are vaccinated? Because people who aren't vaccinated aren't allowed in the same places that you are. So everyone's vaccinated. Why are you still wearing a mask? But you don't even ask yourself that question. Why don't you take a stand for something for yourself? And if you're at least a vaccinated person, stand up for your rights to not have to wear a mask. At least have the kahunas to do that. But you won't even do that. Okay. With no thought. Use common sense. Not the sense they're trying to put into you. Use common sense. And if you signed up to do something you knew you didn't want to do in the first place and you did it and there's no benefit from it, then I'd be standing up pretty pissed off. Just like the people who aren't vaccinated are standing up for what they don't want to do, and they're getting bombarded 100 times worse than what you are about anything. But at the very least, you can also use common sense and ask questions. Why did I jack myself with something that ain't helping me? Why did I jack myself and believe you? Why did I believe you? That's what's going to happen. Coming up very shortly, you're going to have a lot of very angry people who jacked themselves with something that didn't end up helping, and they shifted their boundaries. They shifted their value system on themselves. Like, oh man, I can't, but they won't admit it. But inside, they're going to be saying this. Oh man, I can't believe you duped me into doing that. And, I knew I shouldn't have, but I did, and I still can't travel. Oh, I knew I shouldn't do that, but I'm still going to wear a mask. This sucks. I can't believe I did that, but you'll never admit it. Right? And you're going to have to live with that for the rest of your life, that you just kind of just rolled over and did it. I know what that feels like. I do. And it carries a burden for many, 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 many years. And you got to come up with many excuses of why you did it. Well, I did it because they said. I did it because I was doing it for the world. And I did it because I wanted to save the world. No, you didn't do it to save the world. You actually got a vaccine to save yourself. It only saves you. If it was a real vaccine, it would save you and other people because it would kill the thing it was supposed to kill. But this one ain't killing it. So you actually only did it for you. So they sold you multiple different ways. Number one, get a vaccine and you're going to save the world. Get a vaccine, you're going to save yourself. Holy cow, that's a win-win, is it not? I'd jump aboard that 10 times out of 10. Save the world and save myself? Heck yeah. But unfortunately, because I waited some time, I realize it ain't saving the world and it isn't saving me. It's increasing some chances. It ain't getting rid of what it is the problem is. And then there's this Delta variant BS, okay? The Delta variant. And it's you non-vaxxers. There's the vaccine non-vaxxers. Is it? Is it? Or is it because you didn't kill the whole virus that the virus got smarter and it grew? Just like the antibiotics that I took for my infection in my foot, I had to take the whole thing because it was going to... If I didn't finish that batch of antibiotics, there was a chance that that infection would have got smart and would have become a superbug if I didn't kill it the first time. So I took the whole bottle, right? I took the whole thing. Even though after 3 days it felt better, I still continued to take the whole thing because I knew that it would morph into something else and get more dangerous. Well, what happened is we got jabbed the first time, didn't kill what it was, and the thing got a little bit stronger, and we needed to get a second one. And they're going to have to continue to get a booster and a booster and a booster, probably. Right? So, anyways, those are some thoughts of a layman person, okay? Just with a little bit of common sense of why it is. So if you want to know, if you're the government and you want to know why it is that people aren't just jumping aboard to get that, why aren't people jumping aboard? We've been trying to put fear in them. We put the fear of God into them. We put the fear into them of death. And they're still not getting it because they don't understand the language that you're talking. Why don't you talk their language? Why don't you be relatable? Why don't you be real? Why don't you be relevant? Why don't you be honest, transparent? And it's that type of a talk that those people will listen to. You got a little bit of them caving, and you've realized that those people, those adults that are still standing strong in their vision and in what they believe is right, you're not getting them. So now shame on you for going and trying to get the children now, because you got to get your numbers at a certain number. You're going after a target market that doesn't need it. And it's been proven that they don't need it. Shame on you for that. You've tackled the elderly, you've tackled the adults, you've tackled the adolescents, you've tackled the people from 12 to 18 years old, you've tackled them all, and you still haven't gotten your numbers. And now you're tackling the children. I implore everybody to ask yourself why. To save the world, think of the village. Think of me when I had my little village. I got rid of the alcohol, tobacco. If you really care about the people of the earth, you care about your country, strip the alcohol sales. Strip them. No more alcohol. There's no more alcohol sales, no more tobacco, no more sugar on the shelves. I suggest you start there and prove to us that you actually really care about your people's health. Just one person's thoughts.